Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We got ASTREA in the bottom right side of the map and Solar in the bottom left. That's right, Falcon Esports up against, I can't believe he's teamless. ASTREA in the bottom right side was representing Virtus Pro for the World Championship a few months ago, but his contract did expire, and he has been loving Nexus First. I love that he's gone back to Nexus First lately. ASTREA's PvZ has looked amazing. It's looked so good lately. This is the Hoop Cup number 2, by the way. Dumpster Cup is what I was previously calling it, but apparently that was just the URL he used because Hoop's a funny man. So big thanks to Hoopsire for hosting this tournament. This one not as big a prize pool as the last one, of course. The last one was kind of crazy, $2,500. But this one is still a $500 prize pool, a bit more than the standard weekly cups, just a little bit bigger than those. And he's held it at a nice time where it kind of crosses a few different time zones. Now, obviously, it's a bit too early to have too many Koreans, but Solar has woken up early, and I actually found out about this tournament because he messaged me at 1 a.m. said, "Can I get a link to Hoop Cup?" And it's funny because it's the first response I've had from Solar or message on Discord in a month. And yeah, like 3 weeks ago, I messaged him with a link saying, "Hey, $2,500 Hoop Cup, sign up," because I was trying to spread the word about the last tournament Hoop did. And then I was like, so I get this message when I wake up and I'm like, Solar, that tournament was 3 weeks ago, because I didn't know they were doing a second one. So I've just kind of gone, what are you doing? And then it's kind of dawned on me. I'm like, wait, is there a second tournament? Opened up Twitch, saw a bunch of different matches going on, and I've just hopped on now during or just before the winners semi-finals to cast these matches live. Anyways, we are going to see what goes on. Like I said, ASTREA's just god tier right now. He's going to full wall off, which means he's planning to expand to the south. Solar is also planning to expand to the south. Why? Because that sets him up to walk queens across here. And that's something you need to expect here as ASTREA. So as ASTREA, your whole strategy needs to be to stop a queen walk. Unfortunately for him, he's playing Stargate, and I actually think that's the worst of the strategies here off of the Nexus First against Solar's opening, just because I feel like it's not the worst. I just mean it's like a little harder to defend than if he was doing, say, some sort of modified Robo or Twilight opening where you're using Sentry Hallucinations to scout. Now, he does have very early double Adept across the map, which is great. Going to force out 6 more Lings. If ASTREA commits here, he's actually got a narrow window when there's only like 4. The Lings popping actually perfectly on time. But he's going to pick a fight anyway. I do like that call for him. But, oh, he might get backfired. No, good micro. Really good micro by ASTREA. Gets himself, I think that's 4 Zerglings. And he shades back to safety for now. 2 more Adepts coming forwards. And he's building another 2. He's also mining open his own back minerals. Just super important. So he's going to have 6 Adepts and Oracles joining up with those. Early on, he's going to try and not let Solar get his economy established in the first place. These Adepts aren't really in a great position there. That front Adept could easily be surrounded. But Solar, of course, is being greedy, doesn't want to build that many Zerglings. 2 more Adepts coming in from the north, and 2 from the south as well. He's shading these Adepts away, actually, as ASTREA, which is interesting. And he is, of course, thinking about taking this base. Now, he's already mined open the minerals, so he could take the base even before opening the gold up. But it looks like he's misclicked that probe, which is a bummer. He needs to open those minerals up to defend this 3rd base location, so he does fix that now. 2 Adepts and an Oracle in the south. 2 Adepts up north. Zerglings spot it. There's 2 more Adepts that could get caught here. Great catch for Solar if he can get the surround. But that is a big if. No, he gets a pretty good angle. Okay, he's going to take out at least 2 Adepts. Meanwhile, these 2 Adepts do go in on this side. 3 drones go down, make it 4. Very nicely done. Oracle is going to steer out of there. That's 2 Adepts. But he's killed 12 Zerglings. He's also killed 4 drones. Make it 5. These Adepts are not done just yet. Solar is going to get the surround now, but not before another 3 workers go down. Oracle pulls back on this side. Single Zergling does spot the 3rd. At the same time, guys, where's the tech? It does not exist. It's Void Ray into Fleet Beacon. The answer to that Queen Walk that we know Solar would love to do is going to be just to go air. Go Tempests, things that outrange the Queens. And I think it's a pretty good choice. It bypasses any numbers war, any front-on war, which we know Solar is so good at. And those Adepts do actually finish warping in. The Zerglings tried to run in there, and he's realized this is actually such a cute way of doing this, where ASTREA doesn't open the wall off up just yet. He says, look, I have a 3rd. You need to commit a lot to kill it. But also, I don't even need to keep a unit in my wall right now. And he even he builds a pylon to squeeze his probe through the full wall off. He's going to escape out that north side as well. He's already thinking about, is that a 4th base he's thinking about? He's way too early for that. 2 more drones go down to this Oracle. 9 drones, 20 Zerglings for 4 Adepts. This is an excellent opening. Remember that ASTREA also has had a good economic start. even though his probing has paused. 2 carriers are going to come out. Lair is pretty late for Solar. And Solar does not have a 4th hatchery. I think that's the really big important thing for Solar right now as he goes Roach Roar and 2 more gases. But Solar has never been a player to rush a 4th base, and I'd say it's his biggest, not weakness, but it's something that's not in his arsenal. He plays safe, whereas guys like Dark will sometimes throw down a 4.5 minute hatchery and see if they can get away with it. Solar only ever goes for that hatchery after he's fully built 66 drones and then done a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, Lings are going to go after these Adepts there. It doesn't look like he found too much on that side, but these 2 Adepts, that's where the damage is going down. Make it 5 drones, make it 6. Can he get a 7th one? Yes, he can. And that's a total of 16 workers going down. Really good way to trade those Adepts out in the early game. Now, the Void Ray, where is that right now? It looks like the Void Ray's nearby. Oracle and Void Ray together. ASTREA, he still, once again, stops himself from mining open the patch. And with the carriers coming out, he's going to push forward. Now, I think he should mine it open right now. Spire's on the way. 7 queens. 2 carriers, a Void Ray and an Oracle. More than a match for 7 queens if there's no spores. But if he's got a few spores with transfuses, he might be able to hang on. Looks like he's going to open those minerals now as a Forge and a Twilight comes down behind this. 3rd and 4th carrier are on the way, as well as +1 air weapons. So 4 carriers is a pretty sizable number. He's also building a 4th base in the north. Lings are going to probe that natural wall off, which is interesting. Zealots there, as well as a few Adepts, but that does get caught on move command. The 2 Adepts going to try and defend. We'll see. It looks like the Zerglings are going to trade with that, and they should come out just barely on top. Now, the Void Ray did go down. How many queens has he killed so far, guys? Not a single queen. Great defense for Solar. That Adept does end up holding the wall off there as the carriers move north, looking for another angle, another way to find an entrance. And with the Spore now uprooted, they do have an opening. Stasis Trap's very cute. Does he get it down? Oh, he cancels the Stasis and runs away. Great move for ASTREA. Does get 2 queens sniped here with the carriers. If he can get a few more, this would be huge. You're forcing a lot of mineral expenditure. Remember, they're 175 minerals each. Overlords are also juicy snipes, 100 minerals for each one of those. ASTREA is forcing a big reaction with the Spire and the Corruptors that are going to have to come out. And he's picking off queens as well. Very nice play by him. But Lings find their way into the main base. They don't get any direct damage, though. They're just causing distraction. But the Adepts do clean it up. 1 more queen goes down over there as 12 Corruptors come out. Now, Solar, we know the strategy from here. He's going to do nothing but build Roach Ravager Zergling after this. And he's going to go for a Roach Corruptor Queen all-in. He does this every single time when he's in this situation. ASTREA has to expect this, and he has to pivot, and he has to pivot hard. First things first, save energy for recall. He's got plenty of that energy right now. Takes out a few more queens, which could be nice. I don't think he should wait too long, though. Sees the Corruptors. He has to snap recall. Oh my god, he's so slow. Way too slow on the recall there. He's going to lose 2 carriers, I think. Ooh, actually, only loses 1, but he does lose his Oracle as well. He's got nothing that shoots up, though. And this is where things get nasty. I always feel like 2 carriers is a good opening, but the 3rd and 4th carrier, in my mind, is always overrated. It's so expensive, and it slows down your follow-up. And I think that's one of the big things that pretty much every Protoss player, especially against an aggressive Zerg, should remove from their play. Because look at this, the Corruptor dive comes in, the 3rd and 4th carrier, just all they do is give the Corruptors value. Yeah, they force a few more Corruptors, but if you're not ready for the timing, then you are going to lose them all. And that's an excellent trade for Solar. He's going to force Stalker Warpins with this now, as well as the Corruptors go and threaten the PP maneuver. Now, as ASTREA, you're into a full ground game. Yeah, you got a 4th base up north, but you can't reinforce it because you're going to have to kill one of your own buildings here if you want to be able to. You're also building a 5th Nexus out front, which is crazy to say. This is so bizarre, isn't it? But he's making Archons, he's making Immortals. The Mass Roach Ravager's on the way off 83 workers. Like I said, Solar's just going to try and kill you with Roach Ravager. Solar is not an elegant Zerg when it comes to this matchup. He just takes his brick of Roach Ravager and he kills you. And you might think, well, what a dummy, he's not good. No. He's so good at the early game. He's so good at defending. Even in a game like this, where ASTREA's done so many drones of damage, kept him on the back foot, kept him on his toes, he still finds his way to shut it down with the Corruptors, counterattacks with the massive Roach Ravager numbers. And I just don't think you can hold this as ASTREA. Not without Storm or something like that. Even with Storm, it'd be very, very difficult. Few Stalkers are on the left ready to deal with those Corruptors. His base up north did go down to Zerglings, by the way. I think a good choice to give that up. If he loses this 4th Nexus, he's screwed. Then again, can't really fight to defend it. Nidus Worm and Infestation Pit going down. Solar's just looking for those positive trades. And to, of course, trade while he's maxed and Protoss is not. I think ASTREA played a pretty cool opening here. But the slowdown on getting your 3rd mining is the big problem. Remember that he was doing damage to a Zerg who was pretty quickly up on 3 base full saturated while sitting on only 2 base mining for a while himself. That is why, even with better trading earlier on, now you can see, especially once the carriers went down, trading has gone in the Zerg's favor. The Immortals are fighting very well. The Immortals are fighting really well, but the Archons are starting to fall. And you can see, remember, those Immortals don't shoot as fast as they once did either. More roaches being built here for Solar. He's going to pull back. ASTREA, though, lost his 4th and his 5th Nexus. And I really wonder what this 4th Nexus up north was about. It felt a little bit half-baked. Oh, the Corruptors actually managed to pee the Nexus down as well. In the meantime, oh, that's a big problem. So he's actually down to 2 base mining. So he's going to need to win this game by playing Protoss. And what I mean by that, guys, is Solar kind of needs to throw. He needs the Zerg to chuck a Zerg. Find the worst possible angle, headbutt into that choke point repeatedly. ASTREA needs perfect defensive engagements to somehow, off of barely any income, build an insane army of just Immortal Storm, and then have the Protoss take a really dumb fight into it. The Zerg player, sorry, take a really dumb fight into it. I've seen Solar throw games from ahead against Protoss, but honestly, it's rare. And I don't think he's going to do it from this position. He's got the Hive, Lurker Den finally in the way. He's got such a big economy of his own. He can afford to be a little wasteful. And he's using those biles, the kiting, as best he can. He knows he's got to lower this Archon count. The Archon count's getting kind of big. It's getting a bit chunky, a bit scary. But look at that. Catches a few Archons out. ASTREA was looking away for a moment there. And just a moment, he loses 2 Archons. And Immortal's starting to get very low. Or 2 of those Immortals, in fact. There's only 1 Archon left in the army. The force fields are very cute here. These energy recharge not quite ready. ASTREA hanging on like a champ. The problem is, of course, he's barely hanging on. I do think a Mutalisk swap is an option here, something he could have done, but because he's on such a low base count, Mutalisks aren't attractive. Like, if he's spread across 5 bases, getting out 8-10 Mutalisks to do flybys would be amazing, but in this scenario, I don't think it's all that valuable. I do like that Solar's traded his Corruptors, because his Corruptors don't have as much of a purpose anymore in the longer game. That being said, I do think Great Aspire would have been amazing, and or a second Evo Chamber. He's only on 1 Evo Chamber, he's not making more upgrades. I think with all the money he's got, that would be nice, but Solar, of course, is saying, nope, just keep killing him, keep the army small. That is the real goal in PvZ. That Nexus was not cancelled up north. Immortal Sentry Stalker trying to hang out, but that is a lot of Hydras, and he's got no answer to the Hydras, right? Immortal Sentry's decent as a general fighting force, but it's not decent enough against Hydras when you're this far behind in supply. The Hydras have the same range as the Immortal. The Immortals aren't doing bonus damage to them, the Ravagers or the Zerglings, and you can see that Solar's whittling him down. Nidus Worm on the right side as well. He's going to try and unload some units from that. I'm not sure how much he's got inside. Is it just Zerglings? I mean, I only see 1 Zergling there, but I'm not sure if that's just the interface bugging out or not. The Immortals go forward, trying to fight, but there's just so many Hydras. Good force field usage, and yeah, it's a single Zergling in the Nidus Worm. That pops out, and ASTREA, I like the opening. I think he was doing really well. But I think the mistake he made is that off of a Nexus first, you can't go 4 carries. I think if you went core, you know, like normal 1-gate expand with faster tech, maybe he could have got away with 4 carriers. But I think off Nexus first, he probably needs to stop at 2 carriers, and this is a very different game. Well, ASTREA, guys, before the series did say he's going to make 66 drones and then I'm going to just barely die. And it actually was a bit of a different game one to what we expected. And I did chat to him. I was like, oh, damn, man. I DM'd him. I like to DM ASTREA, have a bit of a chat during these. We often talk when I'm casting a tournament live, and I'm just like, oh, that's a bummer. Or after a series, if he doesn't mind, I'll ask him, oh, man, what should you have done there? Do you mind sharing and stuff? So he was just saying, man, that was frustrating. He's like, dude, I kind of wrecked him with those early adepts, didn't I? I just couldn't protect my carriers, damn. He's like, that was frustrating. And I was like, yeah, that sucks, man. I was like, if you stopped at 2 carriers, you probably would have had him. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Oh, he was just like, damn, that opening went so good. And I think he's right. I do think his opening went very nice. I do think the adepts were finding good trades. There was 1 or 2 moments where the Lings were getting surrounds on them that did, I think, kind of claw it back, right? Whereas if the adepts are killing the drones and not getting surrounded at all, it would have snowballed so hard for ASTREA. But I think Solar did a good job of fighting back there. Now, I didn't pay attention to Solar's opening, guys. I'm not sure, has he started doing the 15 Overlord yet? Because I do think it's such a good opening in this matchup specifically. And I'm really curious to see when all the top Zergs start picking it up, or the Korean Zergs specifically, because I know Serral's using it. I know Lambo's using it. I imagine Rainu and Laser and stuff will start using it very soon if they're not already, because all the European Zergs are all very tight, right? So when one of them learns something, it spreads across the hive mind. There's a bit of shared consciousness, very, very Zerg of them. Protoss players, I've always kind of made fun of, because Terran players, like Zergs will like share techniques, but they'll all have very different builds and styles, right? There'll sometimes be builds they copy or a timing they copy, but it's usually for like 1 day, 2 days, or 1 tournament, day. There's a few build being repeated. Terran will always, like, there's one build Maru does, and every Terran does it for like 2 months. Like, it's crazy, the Terran zeitgeist, with like how much everyone follows like one build for a while. Protoss, on the other hand, it feels like they just don't share any information at all. I can hear the doorbell, guys. Sorry, I just paused for a sec. Dot is awake, me lovely waifu. She got a new fancy vacuum cleaner. So I think that's what she got, because our vacuum, you guys ever have a vacuum cleaner and then just stops, the suction just doesn't work? I don't know, it's like dying. Basically, I watched her the other day try and vacuum some stuff up on carpet, and she's going over the same spot repeatedly, and it's just like not sucking anything up. And she was like, fucking bullshit. And I was like, oh my God. Oh crap, this is probably going on YouTube, and I just swore, sorry guys. Damn it, we've tried to go PG-13. I still make the odd innuendo or dirty joke or whatever, but you know, I try not to explicitly use the language that I know some people are it's not that it's everyone has kids is the problem, right? I wouldn't care too much, but all me friends that watch me content as well all have kids as well. Some people go, stop, bring back foul mouth sailor swearing pig, and I'm like, all my friends have kids, guys. Like, that was the turning point, is when one of my good buddies was like, oh man, it's a shame I can't watch your videos anymore, because I used to watch every time I'm preparing dinner, and I just can't have it unless I've got earphones in now. But then I can't keep an eye on the daughter at the same time. But she's getting to the age where she's going to start repeating all your language if she hears it. I'm like, that's true. I was like, all right. We'll stop being explicit. You'll have to, you know how like in kids shows they'll have like the odd joke that's kind of inappropriate, but the kids don't realize it's inappropriate. Only the parents do. That's what I've tried to filter my need to make gross, silly comments into that format, which is fun actually, because it's more of a challenge than just like normally as an Australian, you just use swear words as bloody punctuation, you know? They're like we drop what, especially I think if you're in like in certain areas of America, people are like very anti-swearing, they're very like, you know, it's a different social rule set, whereas for us they're like commas, you know? It's just like, oh, I effing walked down to the park and did it, you know, like we just drop them everywhere normally. But it's been fun to try and challenge myself to accommodate that. Anyway, let's talk about the build, guys. Melee Zerglings coming forward, Blink's on the way as well. It's 4-gate Blink very early. This is one of Astrea's builds to stop Queen Walks, because he gets the Blink and the 4-gate Stalker very early, and he's done it off just 2 Oracles, right? Problem, he's up against +1 melee. So that's an ideal opening for Solar, because Solar's not planning to do anything aggressive, but he's got the early tech that'll shut down the 4-gate Blink aggression, or not shut it down, but be pretty good at handling it, because he should, and he's actually still massing Zerglings. This is a classic, you guys remember Scarlet's 50-50 build? 50 drones, and then 50 Zerglings with +1 melee? Obviously, it's not like you have to stop at exactly 50 drones, but that's basically what Solar's doing. This is an old school. When the Oracle into Blink Pressure first started, this is what everyone was doing, and he's got an abundance of Zerglings, 30 of them. He is building more drones now. But let's see if he can get us around on these. Oh, I like the counter-attack as well. Great move for Solar. Attacks on the front at the same time. Does force a warp-in at home. To be fair, there's no warp prism or forward pylon, so the warp-ins were always going to be at home. And still delaying the creep. This is what Astrea's really shown he's one of the best in the world at right now, is denying the Zerg's creep spread. And that alone actually allows him to do more damage, because the Queens have way less energy when they play Astrea, because he's using his energy recharge to fill his Oracles up constantly, using that to clear creep. And every creep tumor he kills is 25 less energy, right, for the Queen. So he keeps killing the creep tumors, the Queens keep having to replace the creep, and that really keeps the Zerg in an awkward spot. Look at this. Oh, that's so good, guys. Canceling the 4th. Remember I said he doesn't go for an early 4th. So he goes for his not very fast 4th, and it gets denied. Astrea's got to be careful to not overcommit. I think the Blink back there is a good call. And the Adept does get left behind, but the Stalkers at least kill a couple Zerglings. Zerglings on the top as well. He's up to 6 gas behind it. 8 gateways, Robo and Templar Archives. I love the transition into Storm behind this, especially because Solar's playing Hydroden. Now, what's really cool is Solar is not committing to Hydroden. He does throw down an Infestation Pit. It's not as fast as it could be, but I think he's realizing, you know what? You're probably going to play Stalker Storm here. I'm going to go Hive. I'm going to make a Lurker-Den. So when that finishes, look for him to start a Hive immediately. And if we get stuck on Stalker Zealot Storm as a Protoss boy here for Astrea, yes, I'm a bit biased. I'm cheering for my boy. I love Solar as well, but I don't know. I'm just excited for Astrea's PvZ lately. What can I say? It's bad if you don't have a bunch of Immortals. He has a Robo, He'll be able to make a Prism. He'll be able to start making Immortals, but he's usually very slow to get second Robo. And if you don't have like a second Robo, extra Immortals, and especially if you do the very dangerous move that most Protoss pros love to do, which is go straight Fleet Beacon and start trying to go air before Immortals, you're going to potentially die to Lurkers. Hive is on the way. When Hive finishes, the Lurker Den's going to go for Lurker range and then Adaptive Talons. And there's going to be a scary window in the game where you've got to kind of just hang on and defend. Gets a pylon there, killed, cancels a cannon, and forces a few units to get warped in up the top as well. But those Zerglings will get pushed away now. Stalkers and Zealots will defend. Units lost tab is in favor of ASTREA by about 800 resources. He's got a couple Zealots waiting to backstab whenever the Zerg gets aggressive on him. And we can now see that second Evo. So really gearing up for a much longer game as Solar. He's not treating this as an all-in. He's getting the second Evo that can add melee or even carapace upgrades. Melee, of course, makes your Lings a lot better for run-bys and dealing with these Zealots. But carapace will make your Lurkers, Hydras stronger as well. The reason why players don't like carapace is because normally the Protoss is ahead on the attack upgrades. It's not going to help Zergling versus Zealot, one of the most common interactions, until you get equal armor upgrades to their attack upgrades, which is going to take till +3 usually. Zergling's taking a Storm. Zealot's getting cleaned up though. Stalker Storm on the front. It's a nice moment to pressure before the Lurkers are ready, but he only has 3 Storms, a handful of Stalkers, and Archon, no Warp Prism, because he's investing mostly in Cannon Battery as ASTREA. He's got a second Forge, a second Robo. He's building Immortals now as the first Lurkers morph. So 8 Lurkers morphing. Keep in mind, Zerg production is much quicker than Protoss. Protoss is going to take a while to build these things, but the fact that ASTREA is building up on the front and he's already got a split army, I think he's playing this excellently. Just a few more Zealots and Archons on this side would be good. The danger on this southern army is if he loses the Archon, he's got nothing to deal with Zerglings other than Storm and, 2 Zealots. It's not a great force there. Oh, Archon in the open. That's a juicy snag if Solar surrounds it. Oh, but look at that pylon. Great positioning. And actually, these don't have melee. Oh, no, they do. They've got +1 melee, don't they? I forgot they already have +1 melee. So the Archon defends there. 13 Zerglings killed by that Archon alone, not to mention a few by the Zealots and the Immortal. I think this is a good macro setup. The problem for Solar is Solar's a mid-game specialist. If he can't get a Nidus in the back or something, I have to favor ASTREA here. We've seen ASTREA go toe-to-toe and actually make... It was on this exact map. He made Serral look a little bit helpless in a game they played recently. And that was a very new thing. I think what I've loved about ASTREA is his patience, you know. He had a PVT the other week where he was really frustrated, where he's like, man, I wish I could just go win when I'm ahead like the other races can. Like, you know, he had this moment of frustration. He was like, oh, I just got back from Thanksgiving. I know I'm out of practice, blah, blah, blah. Just a bit frustrated. But yeah, it was kind of interesting to see him express that frustration. And then within a week of that, it's like he was the most patient version of Protoss I'd ever seen. He was just shaving his opponents down, denying things, and really showing the way you're meant to wear your opponents down in PvZ and PvT. Uh-oh. Big move on the top. Gets a multiple eye template. Storms do damage the Lurkers. The Ling's already killed 11 probes. He defends his main really well. He does need to get a cannon in each base. At this stage, you really need a cannon in each base. Oh, Nidus in the main's kind of crazy. ASTREA should be watching, and he should be able to shut that down. It's the top army that could be threatening because there's no detection. There's no detection, but he sees the army and wisely pulls back. Solar, if he got hit there on the top of that ramp, he would have lost so many units, but he's going to go around it. And ASTREA's chasing him, which is very dangerous. ASTREA needs to counterattack here. He needs to counterattack. Yeah, Zealot counterattack is absolutely the right move. Zerglings are chasing it. Zealot's down here as well. Solar has to pull back. If Solar got in between his army and his bases, ASTREA knew he was screwed, so he needed to do a counter push to make Solar react and pull back, and it's worked. 5 drones go down. He might be able to get the hatchery up top. He does have +2 Zealots right now. Mama's on the way behind this. Zealots in the main base. Good attack for ASTREA. ASTREA defends his 4 base, gets a hatchery, gets a few drones, and most importantly, buys himself time to start that air transition. Now, he's going to warp in more Zealots in the main, which you might think crazy. Yes, it's a one-way trip. Those Zealots are sacrificing themselves, but it allows this army on the right side to get another hatchery snipe. If he can snipe both the 4th and 5th base at the same time, that is going to be legendary. And I think this is going to force Solar all in. I think Solar is going to counterattack the moment this hatchery goes down. If he just clicks this hatchery, oh, great Storm. Click the hatchery, run away. He needs to be worried about Lurkers like counterattacking hard because Solar knows now. He's on 3 base income. You know, yeah, this is what I'm saying. Solar knows he's got to go. So you've just prompted him to be all in. ASTREA's not on his toes, though. ASTREA's not anticipated this. He should be realizing you've just butchered your opponent's economy. Oh my god. He could fight this, though. Oh, I think he could have fought that if he spread out a little bit, but he was kind of caught off guard. But Mama's there and there's nothing that shoots up. Mama's there's nothing that shoots up. The Immortals are caught on top of those Lurkers. They do go down. Mama could take this entire army out. There's only 6 Hydras on the map, but he doesn't know that just yet. ASTREA cleans up one of those Hydras. More Zerglings being built. No Hydras in production. Solar, he can't counter push because of Mama. He starts building Corruptors now, which can deal with the Prism. They can deal with the Mothership. But the fact that he's got to wait for Corruptors puts him in a bad spot. Solar has to now wait for this base to kick back into mining. His 5th base up here on this terrible base. It's, of course, only 6 minerals. Purple gas that's currently blocked until he mines out that mineral patch. He's in a bad spot. And ASTREA, he's the one now who can think about a 5th base, think about Tempest, a 6th base. He's got double Forge and the Cybercore. Oh, good move. He only loses 1 Stalker there. He'll lose another Stalker, but great Storm on the Immortals. Now, that is 17 on the Lurkers. 17 Lurkers there. It's a very big army. ASTREA's got to be careful not to throw these units away. I like that he's pressuring. I don't like that he's committing. Kill the Zerglings and fade away is definitely the move here, but more Zealots are coming in. He needs detection as well on both sides, and that's something... He's got 2 Oracles, but he's only got 1 Observer. He does luckily catch a Lurker there, and he has to pull away. Solar... Honestly, he's got to keep going for the Nidus in the main, guys. And he's got to start sending single Lurkers in. He has to overload ASTREA. The way you bring this back right now is Solar. It's pure overload. It's Lurkers running into individual bases. It's trying to drop on Nidus in the back. And it's trying to get a big mistake and maybe surround one of these chunks of army in the chaos. While ASTREA is looking elsewhere, you're going to have to, like, take advantage of him. Corruptors just took out an Observer. Great snipe. So if he can keep denying the Observers, that means the Oracles are what ASTREA relies on. If he loses those Oracles, he's going to be in the doo-doo. Good pullbacks for ASTREA, though. He's got so many cannons and Mama up here as well. Zerglings aren't really going to find anything. You know, Zealot's warping in, Zealot in the wall in. Guess this Nexus is a little exposed. Tempest starting to chip at the Corruptors. At least he's probing, though. These are cheap units to lose, these Zerglings, and they are going to get in. He doesn't have a cannon in his natural yet. Another Zealot does warp in just in time to hold the wall. Remember, no shields, no armor. The Zerglings could easily run in there, but there's more Zealots to cover it. Revelation on the Corruptors is nice. Lurker, Corruptor. It's not the best long-term army. It's just okay. Zealots will deal with the Zerglings in the main. Massive storms on the Lurkers. Oh no! Solar gets called out of position! Oh my god, spread out in a line. Corruptors come in from the right side, take out the Tempest. Mama tries to cloak. Where's the Time Warp? I think Time Warp would have been pretty nice on those Corruptors as well. Looks like she maybe already used that one. In the midst of that, the Stalker's trying to hang on. Mama's going to go down. And these Stalkers trying to deal with these Corruptors. But dude, Solar got a surprisingly not as bad fight as I thought. And it's because of the Corruptor flank. But dude, those Lurkers getting caught spread out in the line, very little support, Immortals spread out on them. And that's what you want to look for when you look at a Lurker versus like Immortal fight, is if the Lurkers are spread out in a line in a big open area, and the Immortals are also spread out. So the Immortals aren't taking the splash damage from the Lurkers, and they're all kind of like getting on top of the Lurkers very quickly. Like right now, they're a bit clumped, right? The first volley is going to hurt. Okay, luckily, didn't quite land on the center Immortal. And it kind of hit the side of that pack, so it wasn't as bad. Corruptors in the main base, guys. They're going to catch 2 Tempests. Lovely move. Oh, Solar. But he's not watching. Solar's APM a little short right now. Grabs 1 Tempest down, though. Zergling counterattack over there. ASTREA's trying to attack in 2 places at once, and he might be making this game a little messier than he needs to, but look at that. Cleans up the Zerglings. Corruptors in the main are going to take down a Stargate. I don't think that's the end of the world, because right now, I honestly feel like ASTREA just wins the ground war. 7 Immortals, 4 High Templar against 15 Lurkers. Maybe, maybe not. This is a good move, though. Yes, he takes the first volley from the Lurkers, but then he pushes in, forces them to unburrow, and continues to chase, denying this southern side. In the middle of the map, a few Lurkers, Hydras are pushing in, and ASTREA, he's still stuck on his first 4 bases. This 5th base looks like it will go down in a second. He's going to try and bring his army back and flank this. I think pulling the probes away is the right call. He's got plenty of gas to make Archons, but his mineral income, you can see, is drying up. Solar's actually got the income lead right now. Solar's making this game messy enough. He might be able to force enough mistakes out of ASTREA to bring this back, and that is incredibly impressive. Corruptors on the right side all go down. Storm, massive cleanup on the Corruptors. That is huge, because now the Tempests don't have an answer. And after killing all those Corruptors, it should be the trigger for ASTREA to rebuild Tempest Mothership. High Templar and Immortal coming in. Great pull away for Solar. Really good pull away, guys. Just fantastic play on both sides of this game. Probes going down to that purple gas base as well. We've got Lurkers, Hydras everywhere. 6 more Corruptors coming in. 72 drones out on 5 base. Solar needs to mine that rich gas, but doesn't look like it's going to be alive for long, does it? He's done a decent job of trying to respread creep, but I just love the way ASTREA has kept these little squads with High Templar everywhere. So there's no easy jumping on the Protoss army and surrounding his units or anything like that. The energy recharge is just being used so well by ASTREA as he rebuilds the mothership. 3 Archons, 2 Immortals building at a time as well. He does have +3 weapons, +1 ground armor. If he could squeeze into plasma shields and the like, that'd be amazing. But of course, ASTREA is not so rich right now, and he is kind of like, you know, okay, he's getting maxed. He's trying to rebuild a 5th base. He probably will go for it in a moment and think about that rich gas. But he's got to be very careful with this army, even though he's definitely ahead in this game. One big bad fight could, of course, turn things away from him. 10 Corruptors are out. So the Tempest and the Mothership aren't actually going to find the opening that we talked about. Solar was ready. Oh my god, he's not watching! Massive move with the Lurkers, but it doesn't quite pay off. ASTREA reacts just in time, lands some devastating storms, and he's got a Southern army to punish. Looks like he should be able to finish off this game. He is the king of ley lines lately. I really feel like this is ASTREA's map. He's so good on this map lately. He's always finding ways to wear down the Zerg. His multi-prong, his positioning, his expanding is excellent, and he's done yet another job of just overwhelming a very, very top-level Zerg player. Now, of course, he's down a game in this series. I think map 3 is Ultra Love, and ASTREA's got to earn his right to get there. He can't get lazy just yet. Don't think he's going to give this one up, but Solar's doing a good job of fighting Scrappy. I think after this game, Solar's going to be more motivated than ever to finish it in the mid-game. I actually think Mutalisks is going to be the main thing ASTREA's going to have to watch out for in game 3. And I think it's going to be the last thing on his mind, and I think that's exactly why Solar's going to think about trying to get Mutalisks out. Depends on how the game goes, of course, but it's just one of those things. Surprise Mutalisk could be big. Chat says he overbuilt Corruptors. I mean, building 10 Corruptors is overbuilding against a guy who only had 1 Tempest, but you need to overbuild, because if you ever get caught without them, then you're screwed. And also, the more you have, the more Observer sniping you can do, which can be really nice, because the Oracles, there's only 1 Oracle up, having to rebuild the second one right now. Oh, Lings are just so bad against these armies, dude. Oh my gosh. It's times like these, you almost want Ultras, something that you can just quickly surround and jump on top, or Neuroparasite to deal with these armies could be very nice, maybe. But he's going to try and hunt him down with the Lurkers, and a beautiful fighting retreat here from ASTREA. I love the recall there. He does lose most of the units. Looks like he recalls a few of them. I don't know where they recalled to. Maybe... I don't know, did anything even get out? Maybe 1 Archon? That Nexus gets peed on the right side. Oh, okay, he's going to try and fight his ASTREA. He was a little clump there. You can see he spread his units to the left, and he cloaks. Overseer comes in from the right side, but the Lurkers are already shredded. Mum is going to go down, and you know what? Solar, once again, I keep thinking he's shredded, and he takes a fight that's better than I expect him to. I still think ASTREA could overwhelm these Lurkers. Solar is bullying with a much worse army right now. Arcanite Templar on the right side. When that comes in to help, especially, it's going to be big. Question is, where's the detection? He's chasing the Oracles down right now. Another Oracle coming in from this southern side. Corruptors, if they find it, it could be big. Corruptors are looking for the Oracle. He needs the Revelation. He's like, I need the Revelation. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get the Revelation. ASTREA's like, damn it, get out of here. But your bloody Corruptor Snipes comes in, gets the Revelation, and now he can finally push back that little army of Solar. Solar being very cheeky there at the end, but he is a bit too far behind ASTREA, playing an excellent macro PBZ. So sick that this is a best of 5, guys. ASTREA now in the top right. He has scouted early, but he was not able to stop the hatchery. Wait, that hatchery doesn't feel very early. 15 seconds. Oh, that went down to like 57 seconds. Oh, Solar's doing the reactive. Oh, you're going to block me, so I'm going to go for a hatchery block. It's good me and ASTREA. I literally had ASTREA on stream the other day talking about how to deal with this. And I think he decided that it was usually best to rally, bring 4 probes down. But he's going to do a different one. He's going to go for the second gate. Is he? What is this? Oh, he's going to do a 1-gate Stargate response. Oh, okay. This is an entirely different response. Okay, he must have done some thinking. Since we talked about this the other day. I had him on doing some guest commentary, and we were talking about how to deal with this specific build. And he's saying, yeah, I think, it's been a long time since I dealt with it, but I think when I've dealt with it a lot, it was bring 5 probes plus a Zealot to clean up the hatchery, and then, just counterattack with 1 to 2 Adepts. But I was like, oh, what do you think about going 2-gate, get 2 Zealots, 2 Adepts, kill the hatchery, go across the map, and then also go Oracle before expand as well with a fast second gas? And he's like, yeah, I think on small maps that one can be really good, but on big maps it's kind of a weak way to do it. Because we were watching a game where I think MaxPax tried to do that version, but he, I think it was MaxPax anyway, but it was a very big map, so that the counter pressure got across a bit late. Kind of funny though, with this one, he's going to be able to get a Stargate very early. Like, he should go Stargate even before Nexus, I think. Oh, no, he's going to go Nexus. Okay. So he actually, he's just like, you know what? I didn't pull probes. I've got my extra gas mining up here. And maybe I just delay the gases on the natural. And he's going to already rally to the natural and start a Stargater moment. Okay, very cool, very cool. Now, it's hard to get a third up here. You can see there's a drone hiding on the right side. Probe was checking for it. There's 2 Zealots and now an Adept coming forward. Stargate does come down. Behind this, Ling Speed's on the way. Remember, your Queens are very late because you've gone 3 hatchery before pool, essentially, as Solar. And now you're getting an actual third base hatchery as well. Thinks about going for the creep, and he does manage to get that down. 2 Zerglings and a Queen in the main should be enough to cancel that shade. And indeed, ASTREA says, let's go for the third hatchery. It's a lot of Zerglings he's forcing out of his opponent here. And it's very hard to engage this, especially with the probe ready to body block. You see how ASTREA, what he's going to do, he's not going to fight with the probe. He's going to hold position so that it kind of blocks the Zerglings from getting at the fighting units. And it'll have to be... Oh, he even builds a pylon! Dude, that's so clever to create a choke point there. And Solar's like, nope, screw this. I'm just gonna cancel the hatchery. But look at that, the Adepts here shading into the natural. Oh, that's such a big move. Gets himself a drone. He's going to take out a few of these Zerglings as well, forcing the workers off the mining. He's already canceled the third hatchery. This is a massive play for ASTREA, who's already up 2 workers in this game. We'll see if he can get any more. I love the pullback, though, because Ling Speed's coming. Oh, he's going to get surrounded on the way home. I think he's overestimated how quickly he can get out of there. Oh, he tries to juke it. Nah, that wasn't the right play. He should have kept running. Because the Lings were coming around a corner, they would have struggled to catch up with him. He's got to rotate, gets the healthy Adept in the wall, only loses 1 Adept. The other one will regen, and he gets rid of the Overlord. What a just spectacular opening for ASTREA. And Solar is forced to go double Spore. Actually, he hasn't gone the second Spore in the main, so he's going to use Queens to cover the main by the looks of it. Spore on the natural, and he's on 33 drones, supply blocked right now. This does not feel like a good spot to be in as Solar, and with an Oracle escorting the probe to the third, the Nexus will come up. 3 Adept counterattack. Has a Stalker in the wall, and second gate coming up as well. It feels like if Solar can slap down these Adepts, he can be okay, but he's got no Lings at home, and these Adepts absolutely could commit to the shade. But he's not going to. There was multiple Queens. 3 Queens can deal with the Adepts pretty quickly, especially if the drones run away. The fact that he's forced drones to start running and stuff, and really, Solar's obviously respecting what's happening very well. Denying the creep now as well is going to kind of force Solar to keep putting more creep tumors down. As we talked about earlier, that's one of the big things you have to look for, is just the amount of energy that gets drained without him actually fighting. This is something that ASTREA is a master of. And look at that. Gets the creep tumor there. That's another 25 energy. It's going to have to go down. That means no transfuses available. Which does matter later on. 2 Stalkers on the third. Not the best units to fight Zerglings, but I think they'll do okay. Especially if he shuffles them to the left. 2 Adepts shading into the main, though. Good defense by Solar. Solar is going to be able to get rid of those Adepts. Adept's just going to take out only 1 drone. And look at that. Stalker did go down over here, but the Oracles do defend. And only turns on 1 Oracle. Really good trigger discipline for ASTREA, not wasting any money. 3rd and 4th gateway into very fast blink. Seems to be his one-size-fits-all safe opening here. ASTREA does not have a 4th gas, which makes it look like a gateway man style. Not something I was expecting from him. It's going to go Forge. Gateway Man, obviously Stalker Zealot focused. It's about numbers. And he does get 2 more creep tumors. Oh, and even another one. You can see these Queens just working overtime, but there are 7 Queens out, and Solar does start another expansion. Stalker in the wall will go down, but going to lose quite a few Zerglings for it. Remember, though, you do need to kill 7 Zerglings per Stalker to trade efficiently. So you can see the numbers there. Those 2 Stalkers going down, well worth the couple of Zerglings that did sacrifice themselves for that. I think Solar's actually coming out on top of all this. After this chaotic early game, it just feels like Solar's weathered the storm, and he's so good at taking a punch, isn't he? He's going to go up to almost 70 workers. 4th hatchery's halfway done taking gases, but actually, ASTREA's not done. That's the thing. I keep thinking if things settle down, Solar's going to be in a good spot, but, well, things just aren't settling down, are they? He's cancelled the 4th hatchery on the other side. He's continuing to clear the creep. He doesn't have anything defending the 3rd right now, except for the shield battery. +1 in roach speed. And remember what we talked about at the start of the series. ASTREA said he's going to stop at 66 drones. He's going to make roaches, and I'm going to barely die. And this is that situation that ASTREA predicted at the very start of the series. He is going 7-gate blink, though. Which, I mean, you got to think, if there's something that can defend just mass roach ravager, that's got to be it, right? Just sitting on 3 base and massing blink stalkers. It might not give you the best follow through, and that's the thing, is ASTREA might start to panic and go, oh, I don't feel comfortable sitting on 3 base massing blink. I need a 4th. I need this. I need to go storm. I need second forge, and I need a robo and a robo bay. And it's if he overcomplicates things and goes for too many things at once, that's where Solar might be able to just kill him. Solar only now starting a 4th base in an infestation pit. You might think, oh, he's teching up. Well, he's opening up the chance to tech. But it doesn't really give him a great window because he can't drone right now. He knows his economy is not good. He might try to like knight a swarm host or something crazy, but it's so late in the game. I don't think that's a good play at all. And I truly do feel that Solar is going to feel pressed to counterattack. As I say that, he drones up and makes a Hydra Den. My lord, Solar is actually going to try and just macro out of this. And I don't know, man. It's kind of funny because ASTREA will delay his tech because he's respecting that push, which, knowing Solar is a player, I expected, and I think ASTREA expects it as well. 2 Stalkers over at the third base. They're going to blink back. More Stalkers will warp in. Solar is like, I don't care how many lings I lose. As long as I'm killing Stalkers, it's worth, and I think he's right. Stalkers are just such expensive units. Zerglings are so cheap. Stasis Trap only gets a single Zergling and a Roach. Not the most useful there. He's still being aggressive, still in his opponent's face. Grabbing Overlords. Units lost time, but 1,000. Resources 100 in the favor of ASTREA. Blinking back there after picking off a Roach. But he doesn't have any Stasis Traps to fall back on now. The Roach's chasing like that is very ambitious off creep. But ASTREA was taking a second to macro, make some Zealots. He doesn't have charge. He does not have charge. He's got to make charge. He's not looking at his Zealots, so he doesn't realize no charge, no Templar Archives. No charge is a big problem. And Roach Hydra into Lurker. Quite good against Gateway Man style. This is a style which is really mechanical. It doesn't give you the splash damage that he normally leans into. There we go. He starts chronoing charge. He does realize what's up. I think Solar, though, has a chance back into this game because even though his economy's been weaker than he'd like as a Zerg, he's up on 8 gases. If he can defend both sides here and just survive with an army split, I think he's good. But that is a big if. Zealot Stalker on the left, Stalkers on the right. ASTREA needs to keep trading right now without being too wasteful. And that's a fine line. It's a very fine margin to lean into. Bile will take out the stasis. Solar is so good at just turtling up. If there's one man, I don't know if I've ever really given Solar a nickname, but I should really call him like the shield wall Zerg because he truly, like, he just tortoises up. You know, it's the classic tortoise, shields overhead, shields out front, just lock down, set up a friggin' hedgehog pike formation, and just survive. And that's exactly what he's trying to do right now. The Stalkers, though, getting some great value on this right side. Fleet Beacon and a Robo on the way. So ASTREA's thinking of going Stalkers straight into Mothership and then Robo for, I'm imagining, Observers for detection. So I think he's basically saying, look, if I get Mama, I can recall Zealots in your main. I think that's actually what he wants to do. It's an offensive Mothership that also can, of course, be very clutch against Roach Hydra Lurker in certain situations. But ASTREA right now, it does feel like the not making Psystorm going to make things very difficult for him. He's not going to have the traditional answers to the Lurkers. As Seismic Spines finishes, the first 4 Lurkers are up. Solar's made it through the scariest part of this game. He's down 6 workers, but I don't know if he cares against a guy who's on mass Stalker Zealot. Mama starts up. Robo's on the way. 2 more gases building. The question is, how does Solar get out? He's pinned right now. If he can sneak 10 Lurkers through the middle with a pack of Roach Hydra while defending and just get up on the natural of ASTREA, he could wedge him. He could create that area where the Protoss has to fight into the siege units, the Lurkers, and that would be amazing. Stalker Zealot's going to move around the left side, stays out of range of those Lurkers, but the Lurkers shuffle forward, and this is the move we were talking about. That's the move you look for, because you know Protoss has to keep you pinned for this to work out. The Oracle's flying over the Hydras, a disaster for ASTREA. Loses 2 of those Oracles there, tried to play a different style, a Gateway Man style. He catches 1 Lurker on the left, but he doesn't have detection, and with no detection, he's going to be screwed. Those Stalkers blink into a Ling Hydra surround, these guys coming back, and you can tell that Solar has just found a way to fight back after a devastating game 2. And I think this game, ASTREA was ahead, but Solar, man, just so good at turtling up, weathering the storm, and we all know how Stalker versus Lurker goes. It's very, very badly, especially when his last detection unit, the Oracle, does go down. Few of these Lurkers did get revealed, but he just doesn't have the units to be able to break the position. Solar with a really nice victory here. Just a great ability to deal with a Protoss who goes mass economy, mass basic units, very mobile. But ASTREA paid a price for that, and that was the lack of tech. And you could just see how quickly Solar pounced there. If we rewind this game and go back a few seconds, I love the decisiveness with which, like, the moment he's like, you know what? I don't have Adaptive Talons, but I don't really need it. I've got Lurker range. I have 4 Lurkers with 3 more making. And you can tell he's like, I really want to move out here. The moment he scares this army back, and I mean, he's been stuck in his corner. He doesn't have a lot of vision, but he's like, there's a second of breathing room. And he's like, you know what? You don't have detection here. 4 Lurkers can defend, and he's already just barreling across the map.
Our forces are under attack.
Now, lapse in ASTREA's map control, his pinning maneuver, and like I said, it's always a very hard thing to balance. The moment you're not in their face fighting with them, and those lurkers move across the map, you're in big troubles. I do think ASTREA could have maybe just gone for more of a standard Immortal Storm transition. The fact, though, that he was at 40 Blink Stalkers, he needed to potentially... he just needed to not back away here, I think, actually, is what. If we have to identify what's the key mistake, if we're playing this strategy as ASTREA, he needs to hold this position. I think one problem he had is no forward warp-ins, no pylons or gateways or warp prisms to warp in off. So he didn't feel like he could fight here, but he's still massing Stalkers and rallying them forward. And I think if you make this many Stalkers, you just need to trade more aggressively. And that's hard to do without throwing your army away, but you kind of need to be riding that edge of over-aggression, and he wasn't doing that, and that's what gave Solar the room to survive. GG, well played by Solar. Really well done. All right, guys. We've got ASTREA in the bottom left side of the map. I keep forgetting it's a best of 5. The players didn't know either. So they literally reported the result. Solar was like, where's MaxPax? Let's play. And we were like, guys, it's actually a best of 5. And then they tried to host King's Cove. And Hupsaya started shouting at the players saying, read! King's Cove isn't in the map pool for this tournament, guys. We have 3 maps to replace those silly old maps. So this is kind of a fun mess right now, but Solar a little annoyed. He did say, it's 7 a.m., man. I really want to get this tournament done. I want to win this tournament now. But Hupsaya said, hey, you signed up, buddy. Rules are rules. Remember, lower bracket's only best of 1. So the lower bracket will go very quickly. Those players are already getting very close, and winner of this plays MaxPax for the upper bracket finals, and then they'll just have to go to the grand finals after a short wait for those best of 1s on the lower side. I think it might be best of 3 for the lower finals, potentially, but yeah, should be best of 5s this one and the next one against MaxPax. ASTREA, I think that last game looked pretty good in the opening stage. I think he played it nicely. Like, ASTREA is showing great range as a player, but I think that style doesn't really suit his current skill set. He looks most powerful. This is not me lagging. That's, oh no, Steadfast. But I was going to say, this is what happens whenever the game lags or anything, guys. Players will just be like, Steadfast. And yeah, basically, ASTREA looks so good when he's multi-pronging, right? Give him High Templar, Immortal, Archon, Storm armies in multiple areas. Go to Mothership Tempest behind it. He looks unstoppable at that stage of the game, so I just want to see him play more of that. Puppy Man says, I also bought a pork butt. Oh, really? A pork butt? What's that piece of the pig called? Do they have a special name for it, or they just call it pork butt? I've literally decided for the meat on Christmas Eve, I'm just going to go to the Chinese barbecue joint and just buy a ton of different, like, pork belly, roast pork, and maybe get some, like, duck as well. Because I'm just like, you know what? I could spend hours roasting an average roast. I could make a gravy that's decent. It would be a bit more traditional, but I'm like, it just won't be as good if I go to the Chinese barbecue and get some top tier meat. I'm going to just focus on making sides for Christmas. Yeah, I'm going to make sweet potato mash, like really buttery. I'm going to try and take a little section of that sweet potato mash and mix in a bunch of spices and brown sugar and turn it into like a what they'd call in the South a sweet potato souffle. Because I had one of those in a tea house in Atlanta when I was there, and I was like, this is just sweet potato with like a ton of brown sugar and a bunch of like cardamom and cinnamon and cloves and nice spices mixed in. Like, this is, and it was so good. And I was like, okay, so I might try and make that as well. Make some veggies and stuff, you know, make a few different things. But I think I'll, you know, skip on making the tasteless turkey this year, I reckon. Normally not the biggest fan of it. And I'm not a gravy master, which is really where all the flavor comes from. I'm sure I'd make an okay gravy. Just don't think it would be god tier. Anyways, Christmas talk aside, Resonating Glaives is on the way for a straight. Dude, he's such a range master, isn't he? He's just such range as a player. He's going 4-gate Glaives here with a Robo. He's hidden his Twilight behind there. Got a Stalker to deny scouting. On this map, is Glaives good, though? This feels like one of the longer rush distance maps, like it would be worse for Glaives. But I guess he rocks up at the third, shades in. And if Solar doesn't build his Evo and Roachwarren in the wall, he's going to have a trouble walling off. He's also got a Creep Tumor blocking prime wall-off placement. He's playing Evo Chamber. I think I just saw something click here. I don't know what that was. I think it's one of his drones, potentially. Maybe, maybe not. Looks like he wants to deny a third base, potentially with Zerglings. Roachwarren comes down at 4 minutes, and it's a Roachwarren behind, which is bad for Solar. He's going to go quick second gas as well, which is a good call. Where's he? Who's building that? he took a drone from his third to build a gas on his natural. That's interesting. Yeah, a bit awkward. Adept's heading forward. Lings with the counterattack. But instantly warps in another Adept. He's going to trade the Zerglings? Really? Oh, this is such a Solar move. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. He's going to pull probes to hold the line. Good call for ASTREA. Oh, he saves the Stalker with the Mineral Walk. That is... ASTREA, you beast. That was so cool. Oh my gosh. He saves the Stalker. He gets 6 Zerglings there for free, essentially. Just a tiny bit of mining time loss. And he's got a bunch of Adepts on the front with a Warp Prism just behind. Very slick move. Oh, Ham is just a pig butt. Oh, okay. A Ham is a pig butt. I didn't even know where Ham came from, man. Yes, that makes sense. it's never worked in a butcher's shop, guys. I see meat. I forget it's attached to an animal at some point. The Adepts are shading forward. Oh my god, that's a crazy shade. Okay, ASTREA just lost his mind, shading into Roachling, into a surround. I mean, he kills the Lings pretty quickly, but he does need to keep stuttering away from these Zerglings. Adepts are in the main base as well. Evo Chamber does come in. He shades into the third. I mean, there's a lot of mining time being denied. And you know what? He could have lost a lot more units there, so it's actually not too bad. 7 Adepts for 37 Zerglings, big mining time losses. He doesn't have a third base on the way or any real follow-up right now, which I would say is the kind of problem for ASTREA right now, as the Queens do manage to snag one of the Adepts. Very nice plate from them. Roaches cancel. Oh my gosh, if he shaded on top of those Roaches, that would have been a disaster. He's going back to warp in the main because all the Queens are out front, or at least most of them are. 4 Adepts going to warp into the main base. Third base wide open. Stalker and Adept next to a pylon, but they can easily be surrounded. That's going to be a really lovely move there. Look at that. He's going to get a good move, and there's no warp-ins available, which means Solar could cancel that third, and that would be massive. Potentially tournament or series winning. Adepts coming in here, taking out a few Zerglings and drones. Third base with no pylon to warp in. He's got to warp in the natural and walk over. That does not feel good. ASTREA's planning, I believe it's an Adept Immortal follow-up attack. But now that he's lost his third base, Solar's going to know he has to play very safe. Solar's economy is not amazing. Nexus didn't die. It cancelled. So that's good. At least ASTREA got some money back. He's going to try and rebuild it now. And the question is he committing to that Immortal push? I think he goes with 2 Immortals. Because we don't see Blink, we don't see Forge, we don't see Sentries, and that to me says ASTREA is planning a next wave of attack. He would actually love Solar to just hold the drone key down and be too greedy right now. Solar is, of course, droning. He's finally getting that worker lead, and he can do this much faster than a Protoss who does not have a third Nexus. But yeah, look at that. More Adepts warping in, builds a battery on the third. As this Immortal comes out, you know ASTREA is plowing across this map. You know ASTREA is going to go for him, but he doesn't have a pylon building. That's a problem. There we go. Pylon goes down. He needs pylons. He needs them fast. Overseer morphing at the worst time. Oh my god, the anti-timing. He misses the entire move out. Okay, he sees the Immortal. He does see the Immortal. I'm not sure if he noticed it or not. He is already building Roach Ravager or 55 drones, which is probably the right time to build it, but it's crazy that he morphed that. Lost vision as the army moved out. Otherwise, he would have seen the entire move out. He's droning a little bit. Solar doesn't realize. He didn't notice 4 more drones on the way. Oh no, if he loses this game, that's going to be tragic. The fact that he morphed his Overseer, that is so unlucky at that moment. If he did it 5 seconds earlier, 5 seconds later, he sees it. Ravager's going down there to the Adept Immortal. Adepts need to deal with the Zerglings. Good surrounds coming in. I think ASTREA is happy to take that fight like this, though. As long as he just keeps trying to stutter step, maybe. Oh, actually, no. He's kind of getting overwhelmed. The Adept's got just a bit too much damage. The Lings do really well for ASTREA. Oh, for Solar, sorry. And Solar starts a Spire. Dude, the Spire is where the real kicker comes in. Because, yeah, you're going Blink, but you're just starting it now. And I think this was just an excellent fight for Solar. Look at the units lost tab. 1100 resources more efficient. Are there Adepts coming in? Yes. If he can shade these 2 Adepts in the natural, they could find massive damage. But I'm not sure he's even aware that they're still there. These Adepts on the left side are going to shade backwards. He's going to try and warp in Adepts in the main. He sees the Spire, which is important. It's actually an Immortal drop. Dude, if he clicks the Spire from the high ground, that could be huge. He does click the Spire from the high ground. I don't think he's going to be able to get it, though. Oh, no, he leaves an Immortal behind. Adepts do shade into the natural. A bit too sloppy here from ASTREA in the chaotic situation. And yes, he's getting more drones, but that Spire is going to finish. These Adepts go down. The Immortal is unable to kill the Spire. There's just no way. That 4th hatchery does start for Solar. Solar's made it past the scariest part of this game. Whilst ASTREA's tied up the workers, it's the army that's the problem. You might be thinking, even workers, he's going to have Blink in time for the Mutas. What's the deal, Pig? The deal is, Blink is not amazing versus Mutalisks. Number 1, he wants to kill that drone, but he's not going to let him block it. Solar's staying on top. Number 1, Blink isn't that good. Number 2, he can't deal with the ground army. There's so much Roach Ling, and ASTREA doesn't have the numbers to deal with that. You add Mutalisks as well, circling, coming in the back line. He's going to have so many problems. I do love his micro here, though. This is a really good stutter step. The Warp Prism can pick up these units. Gets himself a bunch of Zerglings, takes out a few Roaches. He's chasing the Roaches with the Immortal drop. That's actually cute. And now he does fall back. +1 has started. 2 more gateways on the way. That'll bring him to 8 gateways. Contaminate went down on the Forge. I love this from Solar. Solar's going to send Lings down around to the bottom right. He's going to start going with Mutalisks coming out. I think ASTREA has to turtle. He's just too far behind in the numbers. It makes sense what he's doing. He thinks, I'll make the Mutas stay at home, but it's not going to work out. Instead, he's gifting Solar the fight that he needs without using Defender's advantage. 4th base, he's going to warp in Stalkers to try and defend. Mutalisks are coming on top, as well as those Roaches diving on the Immortals, and the Stalkers, of course, trying to deal with these Mutalisks as best they can. Takes out a few of the Mutalisks, does save one of the Immortals, but 2 have gone down, and of course those Lings bypass into the natural. If ASTREA fights back from here, I am going to dub him Grand Master, Lord of the Protoss, he who Protosses so very hard and is very amazing at StarCraft. I like that he's going Armor. Armor is very good against Mutas and Zerglings because they're very high damage, low damage but high frequency attacks, so you get more effect from the armor. But now that Solar's going back into Mass Roach, it's actually not that effective against the Roaches. Taking them down from 16 or 18 damage to just 15 or 17, not that effective. The Stalkers try to chase right now. ASTREA trying to channel his inner Clem, but that means the Mutalisks find their way in. Only one Stalker available to warp in right now. Blinking forward here, a bit ambitious. The Stalker Immortal trying to keep the Zerg back. 58 workers on 4 base up against 64 on 4 base. Those numbers sound good, but that supply is what's so scary right now for an ASTREA who doggedly is pushing into Solar and forcing him to not keep massing Mutalisks. But he's only got 3 Stalkers at home, and that is a big problem. He's going to need to warp in more. He does start to make a few more. Stalker Immortal on the front, picking off Ravages. He does have that Warp Prism there for a little bit of safety. The fact that that one Immortal's still alive, I am shocked by. Stalkers, though, derping around. Uh-oh, he's got to run away from this one now because he's dealing with Mutas at the same time, and that's where multitasking becomes just prohibitively difficult. More Stalkers on the north trying to warp in. That means he hasn't warped in on the front in a long while, and that means his army on the front is, of course, going to be smaller and smaller. Stalkers trying to blink back. Really good micro by him. Trying to do that fighting retreat we talked about. 4th base is in the open, but the Stalkers are quick to respond. The multitasking of ASTREA looking very good. Dodges the Biles, falls back, and it looks like he's going to stabilize on 4 base, but as you can see, during all this, we've lost 15 probes. Yes, he's maintained an equal worker count, but he's on nothing but Stalkers, and you need numbers if you're using a basic army of something like just pure Stalker, and numbers are not what ASTREA has right now. Army coming down through this right side. ASTREA needs to pull everything back right now and needs to warp in more Stalkers in the main. He's only got a single Stalker in there. He's going to try and defend, but the Roach Ravager on the front will, of course, keep him stretched out thin. ASTREA's done a really good job of almost salvaging this game. I think he's just a little shy of the numbers. Stalkers clean up the Mutas in the main. He does blink on the north, tries to take out the Ravagers, but as we can see, it's a pretty scary Roach Ravager force. A few Zealots warping in, they don't have charge. They're good against the Zerglings, but it's just in a bit of trouble in terms of the pure numbers. The 4th base goes down, the probes have to fall back. He's still trying to fight with these Stalkers as best he can, but now it's kind of separated. Remember, there's no ramp here. He's going to try and keep fighting from that angle and just keep the Roach Ravager engaging awkwardly. Blinks forward to punish the Ravagers as they pull away, but he's the one who eats the Biles. Those Stalker numbers, they're just going down, 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 down. You can see that Solar's been out trading him from start to finish in this game. The 3rd base is now in trouble. That forces ASTREA to fight this battle, and it's a battle where Roaches are rallying in from the right, the Ravagers on the left. It kind of looks like an awkward position. Like, if there was just like 8 more Stalkers for ASTREA, he might be able to crumble over and overwhelm. It's getting kind of close looking in this fight. Dude, the probes are being pulled, but he's already lost 27. 27 probes have gone down. Just enough Ravagerling to shred almost all the Stalkers and all of the probes. And even at the end of the day, he's still got a few Ravagers left over. That last Immortal, it was up to 20 kills. It's still alive. ASTREA's done such a good job juggling that, picking away these Ravagers. I love that he's making this game look competitive. But of course, we know 63 drones. The numbers do not lie. The next wave of Ravagerling is going to be so good. Oh, he's actually chasing the Ravagers down with Blink. Gets like 3 more Ravagers and a Roach. Man, Stalkers are so good on the chase. Good Blink back so far. That one Immortal. 20 kills on that Immortal, guys. But it's hiding inside the prism right now. It's up to 21. And ASTREA has to drop the G. GG, Solar wins 3-1.